I tell you what, I'll do you a deal. I'll do you a deal. If you can go inside and get me a chief inspector or a police,
you need to leave now.
Let go.
Here at Street Video Reviewer, we're all in favour of education. Let no one say otherwise, so it was heartening to find that Auditing Yorkshire is keen to learn about trespass, and the police are keen to teach him. I think we'd better watch, don't you?
Up in Dewsbury today, working around doing a few reports on places, and we're just going to have a look. Dewsbury police station, just driving past, it looks interesting. Just going to see what they're getting up to.
Sergeant Oakes, PC Hobson.
Sergeant Oakes and PC Oxton are the ones that weren't really professional last time.
I've no idea who or what they're talking about, but given what we know about Auditing Yorkshire, I should not be surprised if this Sergeant Oakes and PC Hobson are now living under assumed identities in the Australian outback. Don't forget that Auditing Yorkshire is the big man in Huddersfield. He's the underboss. You don't mess with him. You saw what he did at Huddersfield Police Station, how he bossed them. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, give this a watch.
Any of you two got that Audi out there? Yeah, this Muppet here's just give you a ticket.
So it's not registered.
Yeah, it don't matter though, does it? I said, the guy, I know whose car it is, he's in the police station. I said, are you going to give me a chance to go tell him? So you can come out? No, mate. She won't talk to me, got a collar number. She could not print that ticket out quick enough.
Yeah.
But I did manage to stop her getting the last photo.
That's him in Huddersfield Police Station, acting the big man and smacking down some parking enforcement officer. I love the way he's pointing there. He's obviously the man in Huddersfield, and probably the police just do as he says. I mean, he sorted that big parking issue, whatever it was. He was talking bollocks, actually, but the police agreed with him. Anyway, and he got that inspector sacked as well, or he retired, one or the other. But Auditing Yorkshire, the big man, was behind it all. Now he's at Dewsbury Police Station for the second time, and this time he's not taking it lying down. He's going to sort out Sergeant Oakes and PC Hobson. Here's what happened last time he met them at the same place over a year ago.
Just custody suite here. Well, I just couldn't quite have a look on my camera, and that's all I needed to get.
You can't be in the yard area, I'm afraid. It's private property.
Yeah, I've finished now anyway.
Yeah, no, but you've come past the barrier.
No.
It's quite clearly.
I've walked past so just at right, but can you not get so close to me?
We're nowhere near you. Can I ask
Right.
you to leave, please?
Can you identify yourself?
Can I ask you to leave, please?
I will leave if I mean I will leaving anyway, but can you just follow your policies and
Sergeant
identify
Oakes,
yourself?
Dewsbury
Silent.
MP, Sergeant Oakes, Dewsbury MPT, PC Hobson.
Right.
You're on private property. I've asked you to leave.
Right. Okay. I'm going anyway. I just needed to capture
Just
one more
got you
piece for my film, which is that door there.
Look.
Also, may I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Get a proper fence up around, because that's your entrance for staff who aren't in vehicles. Yeah. I mean,
Come on.
there's no need to smirk at me.
Come on.
So if you don't want people coming in, if you just get
I'll be honest with you.
a metal fence
I'll be honest with you.
with like an access pass fee.
You're trying to get a rise.
I'm not trying to get it right. I'm trying to give you a bit of good advice.
We will leave you be while you're up there doing what you're doing.
All
You're
right.
not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But at the moment, you are now.
Well, I
You
aren't
are
doing it wrong.
trespassing.
It's not a criminal offence, though, is it? Come on, Sergeant, you know
It's
that.
a civil matter, isn't
Exactly,
it? But you're
so
still
shut
no
up
right
then.
to be on our property. Don't
Yeah.
tell me to shut up.
Well,
You're being rude now.
I
and
just did.
disrespectful.
I just did.
Come on, off the property.
I have
please.
been rude and disrespectul because it's against the law.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
be trespassing.
I can do what I want. Sue me. Sue me. It's a civil action. Civil matter.
The problem is, when you're in here filming, you're trespassing. I don't know what your other intentions are. If you're up in the public area where you're allowed to be, that's fine. You come onto
Well, you're the
police
problem, and
premises.
can you just stop getting so close to me?
I've asked you to leave.
Yeah, and I've
Leave
told
the
you I'm going,
premises.
so just
Yeah.
get away from me.
We're
You
just
don't
walking
need
back,
to be
aren't
so close to me. You know what I mean?
You know rules. I'm sure
Leave
you've done
the
enough
way
videos.
This side of the barriers and walls.
Listen, guys,
Thank
rules
you.
are made to be broken, so why don't you just jog on and go get some work done? Bye. Bye. Get a fence put up. See ya.
Go sit in your nice air conditioning cold room.
Now he's back and he wants revenge. This is a big one, baby. Let's go back to his latest visit.
I'm going to stick close to AY because if they're going to go hands-on, then we're going to get some shots on it, but hopefully they don't.
Well, if they do get hands-on, you're with the big AY, eh? The big man. So, you know, you're safe, aren't you? Because the police are not going to mess with the big man.
Now, it does look like a lot's changed. In fact, nothing's changed. So, the problem I picked up on last time I came here with this barrier. Now, if you go down the gated access there to down to the bottom to the other side, you need a police passcode.
Oh, to get through gates, yeah.
Yeah, to get into the gate. The issue I had, what I tried telling them about, well, yeah, there's a barrier, but you can just do this one.
Well, there's a massive gap here.
That is a fair point, to give him credit. Anybody can just walk in. Probably it's not considered a secure area. Whether that's wise, given that officers are presumably parking their cars there, is not for me to say. But I acknowledge he has a point. But then he decides to walk in.
That in a barrier?
Section 33, Criminal Justice Act 1972. We've not climbed over any barriers. We've not crawled under any barriers. We've not forced our way in. We've literally just walked through.
What was that again?
Section 33, Criminal Justice Act 1972.
Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972. Where have I heard that before from an auditor?
Look up section 33. You remember section 33 and you remember Criminal Justice Act 1972.
Thank you.
Between the two of you, you'll get there. Thank you. Google.
Oh yes, it was used by UK Meet the Tyrants in his verbal jousting with Neil, that superb security guard at Loft House of Fleetwood, who completely outwitted him, wiped the floor with him really. Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972. Let's take a look at Section 33. What it actually says is this. For the definition of public place in Section 9.1 of the Public Order Act 1936, there shall be substituted, public place includes any highway or other premises or place to which at the material time the public have or are permitted to have access, whether on payment or otherwise. What that means is that Section 33 is providing a new definition of public place for the purposes of Section 9.1 of the Public Order Act 1936. That means to make sense of Section 33, we need to look at Section 9.1 of the Public Order Act 1936. Turning to Section 9.1, we can see straight away that it is an interpretation clause for that Act. That means to make sense of Section 33, and decide whether it has any relevance to public access in general, we have to know and understand what the Public Order Act 1936 does. Let's take a look at the 1936 Act more closely. Section 1 prohibits the wearing of political uniforms in public meetings. Section 2 prohibits quasi-military organisations. Section 1 seems to be of most relevance to public spaces, so let's look at that. Subsection 1.1 states, subject as hereinafter provided, any person who in any public place or at any public meeting wears uniform signifying his association with any political organisation or with the promotion of any political object shall be guilty of an offence. Well, what's that about then? For context, the 1936 Act was passed amidst the rise of a British Union of fascists and was intended to control movements like that by effectively banning political uniforms and paramilitary organisations. That's why a definition of public place was needed for the interpretation of that Act. I think anybody who is familiar with the history of Britain in the late 20th century will now understand why Section 33 came into being some 37 years later. The Provisional IRA had been founded in 1969. 1972 was an important year in the Troubles, a tragic year. It was a year in which Bloody Sunday took place in Northern Ireland. In fact, in 1972 alone, the IRA killed 100 British soldiers and wounded 500 more. In the same year, they carried out 1,300 bomb attacks and 90 IRA members were killed. Effectively, it was a civil war situation. Also, 1972 was an important year for the National Front in Britain. For reasons we need not go into here, their membership began expanding quite rapidly that year and a new leader took over. Against all that background, Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972, in my view, greatly expanded the definition of public place within Section 9(1) of the Public Order Act 1936, for the purpose of controlling political and quasi-military organisations that were seen as a threat, perhaps a threat to public safety due to their extremism or militancy. Here's a comparison between Section 33 and the old Section 9(1) so you can see the difference. At first glance, it looks like Section 33 narrows the scope of public place, but I think it broadens it actually by omitting reference to specific types of public place in order to catch more flies, so to speak. Anyway, whatever is the case, the interpretation of public place in the Public Order Act of 1936 is for the purpose of that Act, which, to repeat, is to prohibit the wearing of political uniforms in public places. It has absolutely no relevance to the meaning of public place in other contexts. It doesn't somehow usurp the law of trespass. If it did, we would be living in a different world and we would know about it. But it doesn't do that. Any auditor who refers to Section 33 is just talking nonsense. That ought to put the matter to rest for good, but I know that most auditors and most of their supporters are not interested in actually learning anything or understanding and acknowledging what the law really says. They see the law as something that should work for their personal convenience. Having said all that, let's not forget something very important here. Auditing Yorkshire is a big man in Huddersfield and I don't want to be swimming with the fishes. So if he says Section 33 lets him do what he wants, who am I to argue? Let's go back to the video.
We've not climbed over any barriers, we've not crawled under any barriers, we've not forced our way in, we've literally just walked through.
This bloke talks so much bollocks it's hard to keep up with him. He's entering private property. Police property is private property. Trespass is trespass. It wouldn't matter if you were beamed in there by the Starship Enterprise. You're still trespassing. The real question is whether you have implied permission to enter, or you're availed of some other justification in law that could answer trespass.
Now this has still not been corrected. So we are going to do what we can.
This is several months ago, so we'll go let them know.
And it's nice of you to go and let them know, very public-spirited, but don't they have a reception where the public should report? Are you supposed to be entering via the car park?
It's an old building.
Now that's back open. I'm not sure if Dewsbury is.
I realise you can't hear what he's saying to his viewers there. I've deliberately decided to use West Audit Reports footage, indeed reportage, so that you can see Auditing Yorkshire. There is a link in the description to Auditing Yorkshire's video as well, so you can watch that if you want to find out what he's saying, but I can tell you that you're not missing much.
Oh, you can't get through there.
I believe in Huddersfield.
What we can surmise from all this is that they're somewhere that they're not meant to be. In legal terms, they are somewhere that the occupier, i.e. West Yorkshire Police, would not reasonably expect members of the public to be found. This shifts the onus onto the auditors to justify what they're doing and to demonstrate a legal basis for being there. We'll get to all that soon.
I think it's going to be getting shut down, and I think Huddersfield Police Station is as well. So it's PC Sergeant Oakes and PC Hobson.
There you go, Sergeant Oakes and PC Hobson. The big man from Huddersfield is here to sort them out. I wouldn't like to be them.
Camera is staying on, guys. Because
Now they're looking in windows. This, of course, is perfectly normal behaviour. Which of us doesn't turn up at a police station, trespass in the car park, walk round the back filming everything, and have a look in the windows? Don't we all do that? I don't know what all the fuss is about, really. All you trolls and negative people picking on the big man. You'll be sorry.
we were jumped on last time.
They were jumped on last time, is what he's just told his viewers. I'm getting the picture that he's been here before and it didn't go to plan last time. I assume, given that he's a big man in those parts, it must have been armed police that jumped him. Well, it must have been, mustn't it?
Just custody suite here. Well, I just couldn't quite have a look on my camera, and that's all I needed to get.
You can't be in the yard area, I'm afraid. It's private property.
Yeah, I've finished now anyway.
Yeah, no, but you've come past the barrier.
No,
It's quite clearly.
I've walked past so just at right, but can you not get so close to me?
We're nowhere near you. Can I ask
Right.
you to leave, please?
Can you identify yourself?
Can I ask you to leave, please?
I'm confused. Those officers aren't armed. They're not threatening him. They're reasonably polite. And they escorted him off the premises without laying a finger on him. On the other hand, who am I to question the big man?
Proper got accosted by them two muppets.
Oh, is that the gate over there that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, look, it's
Wheel clamps.
wheel clamp.
Sorry about this. I'm hoping that something happens soon and that we're not just being treated to a tour of the back of a police station by these two nutters.
Yeah, I don't know much. Don't crash. Stuff going on about coronavirus access control power doors. That's hand sanitizer, that there.
I think he's calling from.
No, we're not auditors. No.
You're not auditors? Isn't your channel called Auditing Yorkshire? And isn't the other channel called West Audit Report? I would normally consider that a clue. Plus you do call yourselves auditors. Anyway, the point is that the officer has approached them and asked that they leave. At this point they have a choice. They can explain their purpose or they can leave. Let's see which one they do.
Oh, I remember you. You're that Muppet Sergeant from Pleckheaton, aren't you?
Right, now, don't get me wrong, I don't particularly like the police, but when I have to speak to the police, I don't usually begin by saying, "You're that Muppet Sergeant." Having said that, I will add here a word in defence of Auditing Yorkshire, and say that the verbal approach of the officer was less than ideal. Regardless of what he thinks of these people and what they do, he's still dealing with the public, so what he should have said is something like, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. We've noticed that you're walking around and filming. Is there anything I may help you with?" That's an open question that puts the onus on the auditor to explain himself, which is useful, especially for a police officer, and it's done in a way that doesn't needlessly get his back up. Presumably Auditing Yorkshire would have then said something like, "We're here about the security. The barrier hasn't been sorted yet as there's still a gap. You need a magnetic gate there," or whatever. The officer could then reply with something like, "Thank you for your concern, sir. Let me escort you to the public reception and you can report the matter there. May I also suggest that you take the matter up with our estates department at headquarters, as they may be in a position to address the matter directly. If you like, I will ask reception to find their contact details for you. Now, if you'd like to follow me." That type of approach won't always work, of course, but it's the right way to start things off, and when it does work, it means that nobody's ego has been bruised, and he knows that his concerns are being addressed, and he's also got some content for his video, especially if they can have a nice chat about police work or whatever. But the officer's social and linguistic skills are not tip-top, and as a result, the encounter has immediately escalated up a level when it needn't have done.
2883.
Are we going to go outside?
No, we're not.
Yeah,
No, we're not.
You are.
No, we're not.
The officer is not dealing with this well. He is escalating it too quickly. Given who we're dealing with here, remember this is Auditing Yorkshire, it's likely it would have escalated anyway, but I don't agree with the way the officer has approached this and started things off. That doesn't mean I'm siding with Auditing Yorkshire. Police property is private property. The onus here is on Auditing Yorkshire to explain his purpose or leave. Although the officer is making things worse, the onus is still on Auditing Yorkshire. He can't just stand there and say no. Either he has a purpose, in which case he needs to explain it, or he must do as asked and peaceably leave.
Well, what are you going to do about it, Sergeant?
We're going to remove you off the bar after you. I'm asking nicely. Just move off the side. You can film me all you want, that's fine.
I've criticised the officer, but to be fair to him, he didn't ask this idiot to turn up at his workplace. There is an expectation from his employer, if not a duty, that he will challenge him or report it, and he is now being polite and civil. He's emphasised that there's no issue with filming, but it must be off the property. Let me repeat, the onus here is on Auditing Yorkshire. If he cannot or will not explain his purpose, then the deduction is that he is trespassing and otherwise has no justification for being there, and he has to leave.
Right, I'll tell you what it is, Sergeant.
Okay.
I've come in here to do an inspection.
Okay.
Alright? Been at media inspection. There's an implied right of access into this car park.
The officer is correct. A police car park is not for the public. There is no implied permission for Auditing Yorkshire and West Audit Report to enter a police car park. If they believe they do have an implied permission on this occasion, let them state what the basis of this is. Since they have no vehicle, it's hard to see what the basis of their implied permission could be. Even if they had been invited to the police station, that in itself would not constitute an implied permission to use a car park unless they have a vehicle with them and the barrier was up and there were no signs prohibiting their entry. Those circumstances don't apply, nor does anything else spring to mind. His explanation of carrying out a PINAC inspection is of course bollocks, but if we just take it seriously for a moment, what we can say is that a photographer could enter a public area of police premises for the purpose of testing police understanding of public photography rights, and in my view that purpose could be construed as the basis of an implied permission, provided the photographer does not engage in continuous filming in any sensitive area where there may be criminal suspects or witnesses or other members of the public. Given that this would be for a purpose that is not vital to the photographer, the implied permission would be revocable by the police at any moment. The problem here is that Auditing Yorkshire and West Audit Report are not in a public area of police premises. They are not in an area that the police could reasonably expect the public to access or be found. If they genuinely want to audit or test police understanding of photography rights, they could access the public area of the police station just like any other member of the public, while conspicuously displaying their camera equipment and see what response they receive. If the response were hostile, they could reassure the police that they are not continuously filming and will only be taking still and moving images of the building or specific architectural detail or individual officers on duty who appear in uniform and maybe marked police vehicles. I think that would be legitimate. What they are doing here is not legitimate. They are clearly in a part of the police premises they should not be in, and their intention is to film a confrontation. That's not auditing. The reason it's not auditing mainly is because We already know that the police will challenge them. There's nothing to test. At least not from the perspective of public photography rights.
You can film from outside the barriers. No, I can film from outside the barriers.
So, listen guys, this is the sergeant. Do you remember when I got arrested at the police station by them mugs, them fucks and PCSOs? This is their sergeant. He did not want to know. He was condoning their behaviour.
I think it's pretty clear he doesn't have a real purpose to be there other than to cause trouble. If he was thrown out on his last visit, and his idea here is to report on that by revisiting, he can do that from the public highway. He doesn't need to be actually on the premises, especially if he's been ejected from there before.
It's fine. You admitting that it's fine?
Are you going to leave and go behind the barriers?
Why?
I'm asking you to go from there.
You taxpayer, mate.
He has now been asked several times to leave. He does not have implied permission to be there. I think I've now addressed the possibility of an Article 10 justification for him trespassing, and there isn't one, because he could achieve the same result on the public highway or by filming in a public area of police premises while observing certain scruples to do with people's privacy and confidentiality and whatnot. The fact he is a taxpayer is irrelevant. I'm a taxpayer, but that doesn't give me the right to do what he's doing, nor do I have the right to turn up and walk round other property owned by public bodies or the state or the Crown. Maybe we should have that right, but we don't.
I'm going to go behind the barriers.
I'm not going to go behind. Are you going to make me go behind the barriers? Alright, I will be leaving. Alright, let's see what he does to me, guys.
He's obviously doing this for likes and clicks.
Camera's rolling, make sure you get all this. Let's see what he does to me.
What I would hope is that the officer will consider Section 68 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994, which states that aggravated trespass is an offence. Let's look at the elements of that offence. A person commits the offence of aggravated trespass if he trespasses on land and, in relation to any lawful activity which persons are engaging in or are about to engage in on that or adjoining land, does there anything which is intended by him to have the effect of A. intimidating those persons or any of them so as to deter them or any of them from engaging in that activity, B. of obstructing that activity, or C. of disrupting that activity. His behaviour clearly matches the offence of aggravated trespass because he's now obstructing the officer and diverting the officer from his other duties and thereby causing disruption. Aggravated trespass is an arrestable offence, so what I would like to see is the officer now place this clown under arrest, or at the very least take his name and address so that he can be reported for summons on an allegation of aggravated trespass. This is especially important if he's done this before at the same place. We know he's a serial offender anyway. The other point is that the officer could consider Section 4 of the Vagrancy Act 1824, which provides that it is an offence to be found in an enclosed yard for an unlawful purpose. The unlawful purpose here would be simple trespass or aggravated trespass. So there are two lines of attack that the police could use against Auditing Yorkshire in this situation.
Yeah,
The barrier's not been fixed, so has it?
I'm perfectly happy to film behind the barriers.
I'm not perfectly happy, mate, because I came here 9 months ago and I was accosted by PC Hobson and Sergeant
I wasn't really.
I know, because you were probably at Cleckheaton with all the corrupt tyrants, weren't you? So that's where you're based, isn't it?
Corrupt tyrants? This is starting to sound like a film that Auditing Yorkshire wants to star in. He's at Dewsbury police station. He's just I think he's over-egging his language a little bit here.
So you yourself are corrupt. You're a corrupt tyrant, so I don't want to speak to you.
2283, he's a sergeant.
Why haven't you informed me? I know I'm not stop speaking. I'm not going to stop speaking for you.
So I'm not trying to creep up on you. And 5723, there's probably a load of other officers in back.
Colour number. Name. What station are you based at? So call the number and what station you're based at. That's okay, that can track you down, can't it? Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
I have a feeling that anybody Auditing Yorkshire doesn't like is a corrupt tyrant. The reality is that on his first visit to Dewsbury police station, Sergeant Oakes and PC Hobson did not lay a finger on him. Just to remind you, here's what actually happened.
Just custody suite here. Well, I just couldn't quite have a look on my camera, and that's all I needed to get.
You can't be in the yard area, I'm afraid. It's private property.
Yeah, I've finished now anyway.
Yeah, I know, but you've come past the barrier.
No.
It's quite clearly.
I've walked past the, so just at right, but can you not get so close to me?
We're nowhere near you. Can I ask
Right.
you to leave, please?
Can you identify yourself?
Can I ask you to leave, please?
I will leave. If I mean, I will leaving anyway, but can you just follow your policies and
Sergeant
identify
Oakes,
yourself? Silent.
Sergeant Oakes, UMPT, PC Hobson.
Right.
You're on private property. I've asked you to leave.
Right. Okay. I'm going anyway. I just needed to capture
We'll
one more
escort you
piece for my film, which is that door there.
Look.
Also, may I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Get a proper fence up around, because that's your entrance for staff who aren't in vehicles. Yeah. I mean,
Come on.
there's no need to smirk at me.
Come on.
So if you don't want people coming in, if you just get
I'll be honest with you.
a metal fence
I'll be honest with you.
with like an access pass
You're
fee.
trying to get a rise.
I'm not trying to get it right. I'm trying to give you a bit of good advice.
We will leave you be while you're up there doing what you're doing.
All
Not
right.
doing anything wrong. But at the moment, you are now.
Well, I
You
aren't
are
doing it wrong.
trespassing.
It's not a criminal offence, though, is it? Come
It's
on,
a-
Sergeant, you know
it's,
that.
It's a civil matter, isn't
Exactly,
it? But you
so
still
shut
no
up
right
then.
to be on our property. Don't
Yeah.
tell me to shut up.
Well,
You're being rude now.
I
and
just did.
disrespectful.
I just did.
Come on, off the property.
I have
please.
been rude and disrespectul because it's against the law.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
be trespassing.
I can do what I want. Sue me. Sue me. It's a civil action. Civil matter.
The problem is, when you're in here filming, you're trespassing. I don't know what your other intentions are. If you're up in the public area where you're allowed to be, that's fine. You come onto
Well, you're the
police
problem, and
premises.
can you just stop getting so close to me?
I've asked you to leave.
Yeah, and I've
Leave
told
the
you I'm going,
premises.
so just
Yeah.
get away from me.
We're
You don't
escorting
need to
back,
be
aren't
so close to me. You know what I mean?
You know rules. I'm sure
Please
you've done enough
remain
videos.
this side of the barriers and walls.
Listen, guys,
Thank
rules
you.
are made to be broken, so why don't you just jog on and go get some work done? Bye. Bye. Get a fence put up. See ya. Go sit in your nice air conditioning cool room.
That footage from his first visit to Dewsbury police station is still on Auditing Yorkshire's channel, and it proves him to be a barefaced liar in what he says to the police officer now on his second visit.
Speak to them all. Bye bye.
He doesn't want to speak to him anymore. He's having a sulk now.
Go that way, please. No. I've rolled it everywhere I want. You won't. I will. You won't. I will. Go that way. That way. Go that way. No. I'm going to ask you reasonably.
Have your numbers? You based at this station? Yeah. Okay, so 3667
Just make sure this guy doesn't get hands on.
and
Go behind the barriers, that's fine.
57. You based at this station?
I am recording. I'm recording your
Go
stupid
behind the
mug.
barriers.
You're recording, yeah?
This guy is dangerous. He's a tyrant.
Just go behind the barriers.
And it's gone off onto his colleagues, mate. It's Pete says
We're just going up behind.
and wife who think they can get hands on with people. And
To me, somebody who stands unlawfully on somebody else's property, refuses to leave and calls you names when asked, sounds a lot like a tyrant. Wouldn't surprise me if such a person found that the police were getting hands-on with him, although I haven't seen any evidence of that in either this video or the other one. If I wandered onto police premises and started walking around parts I shouldn't, and I was asked to leave, I would leave. My reaction would not be to call the police tyrants.
assault people and abuse their powers. And it's people like you what condone it. You're a disgrace to the uniform. You take an oath. You took an oath when you took this job on. And you've just flushed it down the toilet.
I see no evidence of that. All that has happened here is that Auditing Yorkshire has been asked to leave and refuses. If he has a complaint about the police, there are channels he can pursue. If he's not satisfied, by all means he can film a documentary from the public highway, or even from a public area of police premises, relying on Article 10 perhaps. Nobody here is interfering with his rights.
I did that a long time ago. And you know how you keep saying, I don't stop talking. Right. If you know who I am, you will see I am a reasonable guy. And I do not talk sometimes. And I do let people get their point across. But I'm not going to let you get your point across. Because you're a big fat muppet.
It's that Yorkshire charm again. I hear that civic leaders in Yorkshire have approached Auditing Yorkshire with a view to appointing him as the historic... I can't do it. I can't do the joke. I can't do the joke, I'm sorry.
Right, come on, let's just go stand out on the road, please, because you're in the backyard.
He has now been asked to leave for the upteenth time.
It's not in this area, that's what the barrier's there. No, that's to stop.
Yeah, but it's not a proper barrier because you can just walk in between.
They tell you it's not public access, so you need to leave now.
The mistake these two auditors make is in believing that because they can walk in, that means they have an implied permission to walk in. But one doesn't follow the other. Implied permission requires as a minimum that access by the individual is reasonably expected by the occupier. The police do not reasonably expect any Joe or Jane Bloggs to just walk into their car park around the back of their building and looking through windows. It's trespass, and by refusing to leave and causing all this commotion, he's now committing a criminal offence of aggravated trespass. I just don't see what it's all in aid of. What's his purpose? Why does he need to be stood on police in that part of the police premises to achieve that purpose?
Well, put your hand down.
You've got a gap. You've got a gap.
You've got a gap as well between your ears.
I've asked you 3 times now.
Yeah.
You leave over the
Look, you've got a gap between the barrier. You're not listening. You've got a gap between.
move on to the pathway.
There's a use of force warning. This situation is governed by common law. In common law, an occupier of land has the right to use reasonable force as is necessary to move a trespasser. As I've mentioned in previous videos, there's relatively little case law on this, so there isn't much in the way of judicial guidance for occupiers caught in this unfortunate situation where you've basically got a couple of nutters who won't leave. There is a risk that the officers here may commit an assault if the force used is deemed unreasonable or not necessary. Two distinct but interrelated requirements. That being said, as long as the officers apply their training and use that bit of common sense, they should have nothing to worry about.
Between the barrier.
I'll tell you again.
Up at the gate.
You're not listening, are you?
I am listening.
Well, there's a gap in between. Anyone could walk in. An animal could walk in.
It's not a public.
A little child could walk in. You're not protecting it properly. It's not a correct barrier.
That may well be true, but what has that got to do with you trespassing and now committing an aggravated trespass? Is this your hill to die on? There's a gap at the barrier and you're now going to chain yourself to the railings in protest? Or I don't really understand what it is you're trying to achieve.
We're not saying it's a
Now we've
criminal
made you
offence.
aware that this area,
No, it's not a criminal offence.
for the general public,
All right.
we're now asking you to leave.
I tell you what, I'll
onto the
do
main
you a
road.
deal. I'll do you a deal. If you
It's
can
not
go
a deal.
inside and get me a chief inspector or a
Right,
police
you need to
crime
leave now.
There are no deals to be done with people who go round with the uncivil attitude that you have. People who stand up for our rights should not be insulting the police, certainly not as a matter of course anyway. You are not standing up for our rights. You are abusing our rights, and I want to see them arrest you or throw you out. Or both.
Let go.
Need to move. Come on.
You don't need to do this.
Behind the barriers.
Why?
Behind the barriers.
You're pushing me backwards. I could have an accident. I could fall over.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Well, I'm holding on to you, so you're not going to
He's
fall.
holding on to me.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very tight grip on my elbow.
Come on.
I mean, on my elbow.
Watch where you're going, you're going to fall.
Yeah, you're pushing me.
Watch where you're
You're
going,
pushing
you're
me.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm hoping he does fall over and bang his head. It might knock some sense into him.
Watch where you're
Ow!
going.
Oh, ow.
There you go.
Don't
Behind the
just
barriers.
ram me through here. That's sharp, that.
Go on.
That's stuck in my shoulder. Muppet. No need for that. That's abuse, is that?
I hurt my shoulder. I want me mummy. Let's just get something straight. If you want to play silly buggers with the police, then you better be ready to take the consequences. If you're man enough to go around mouthing off to the police like that, then a hurt shoulder should be something you can take in your stride. If you can't take it in your stride, then don't play stupid games in the first place. Apart from that, I saw nothing wrong with how the officer escorted him off the premises, and I can't see what complaint he could have. Those of you who think I'm being hard, just remember that this man is wasting the time of the police. No matter what you and I think about the police, to be clear, I don't like the police, but I assume there are people in Dewsbury who need help and assistance from the police, and I bet if they knew what these two clowns were getting up to, they would be unimpressed at the antics of these two nutters.
What, she don't shove you into that barricade like me, just shove my shoulder into it.
I see nothing greatly wrong with what they're doing there, but if I was going to be really particular about it, I would say that the two officers are using the wrong technique there for physical intervention, which again suggests to me a gap in their training. When you're physically ejecting somebody, ideally you need two men. Each man should be stood to his side, to the side of the individual being ejected, and should have a grip of the individual's arm, and perhaps even try and have him in an arm lock. And the idea is that you can then quickly walk him out in a controlled fashion, and in a safe fashion. The problem with the method they're using there is that it does involve them pushing him. I don't see anything wrong with it in a legal sense. It's still lawful, but it's not ideal if we're going to be particular. I'm now going to show you the same part of the incident again, but from the point of view of Auditing Yorkshire.
Now we've made you aware that this area is not for the general public.
All right.
We're now asking you to leave.
I'll tell you what, I'll do you a deal. I'll do you a deal. If you can go inside and get me a chief inspector or a police and crime commissioner, I'll leave. Don't touch me. Look at this.
Up this way, please. Come on. Come on, I'm just directing you out onto the main road.
No.
We told you that it's not public right away. You shouldn't be.
Get your hands off me, you're assaulting me.
I'm not assaulting you.
Unwanted contact is assault.
Come on.
Unwanted
It's not an assault, I'm just directing you. Come on.
Unwanted contact is
It's
you're
not, it's
touching me.
directing
If
you.
I touch you now, you'll lock me up.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you will. If I got hands on with you now, you'd lock me up, wouldn't you?
Not
Identify yourself anyway.
I've already done to your colleague. There's
Right.
numbers there.
3667 way base, mate.
Dewsbury Police Station.
Right, that's fine. You
Come on,
recording?
Out you come. Out you come.
Are you recording?
Sorry?
Are you recording?
I've not got my recording on at the minute now.
You're not recording.
Right, come on. Come on. Come on. If we can walk
Look at this,
up out
guys.
this way, please. Come on.
I'm walking.
You
What are you
don't-
pushing
you
me for, man? You don't have to push me. Come on. Bloody hell. I'm nearly 40 years old, lads. I can walk by myself.
You think you'd be a bit more mature about
Well,
it.
you're a bit of a muppet, really, aren't you?
on,
You're a bit of a tough spot, aren't you, mate?
Come on.
Before you
Stop
think about locking me up for public order, mate,
not
don't even
locking
go
you
there. Because I'll sue you.
Go on.
I'm not going to sue you anyway.
Go on.
Look,
Go on.
I'm
Keep going
outside
that
your
way.
barrier. What are you pushing
Go
me
that
for?
way.
What are you pushing me for?
Go that way.
I'm outside your barrier.
There you go.
Right, get off me.
fine.
Don't ever touch me again. Don't ever touch me again, pig.
Okay.
Don't ever touch me again. He pushed you into that.
Now we'll take it up again with West Audit Report.
He pushed me into this corner of that.
There, poor soldier.
Got me in my shoulder. Pushed my shoulder into there. Didn't half hurt.
Well, don't play silly buggers then.
It's on the body worn camera. All I'm going to say is, don't delete your footage because I will be making subject that as my request. Or should I serve his solicitors? That's fine. Do what you need to do. I choose you for that. Go polish your red ball, Go on, get back inside. Top spot. Go get yourself a coffee and a donut. Bacon sandwich. Absolute muppets. Assault. You'll be hearing from my solicitor, boys.
Or maybe they won't be hearing from his solicitors. I'm struggling to see what claim he would have, but we never know.
You see that?
Yeah, shoved me into there. You see this here?
Yeah?
This corner. He pushed me through, backwards, into that corner there, and it jabbed me in my shoulder.
What an
And I said to him, that hurts, and he kept on pushing.
I'm starting to quite like that policeman, you know. Can I take back all the criticism I just made of him in this video? If he's watching, honestly, I didn't mean any of that.
Absolute tosser. And what did I say to you?
Yeah, it's crazy. He grabbed hold of my
Stick
elbow.
by my side when we come in
Yeah.
here.
He grabbed hold of my elbow.
MAT, what sort of hotel at Tray 10? Mike Alpha Tango. We have Red Vauxhall Astra. Guys, scoop the rally t-shirt on. Get it, Moppet. Get back inside. Shut up. Don't speak to me.
Just to remind you all, just so you don't forget, Auditing Yorkshire is standing up for our rights here, calling people muppets, taking down car registrations. It's all for you. In truth, all he's succeeded in doing is making a fool of himself and wasting the time of the police. There's nothing funny about it really, joking aside. There's nothing about it that commends him.